Okay, here we go. Oh my God. Stop. Hey, welcome to the vlog.
Oh, fell out of your chair.
That'll wake you up and welcome you back to the vlog. Now I'm short again because I got off my foot.
What's up, everybody? Hey, what's up? Welcome back. I'm Cullen. This is my wife, Katie. And this is Cullen and Katie.
Yeah, we're here to talk about a few answers to a few questions, and our dogs are gonna scratch the door, and they're kind of part of what we're possibly gonna talk about today. So hold on. One of these days I'm just gonna take my clothes off so I have something interesting to look at in between these clips. So we posted a really exciting video last week. If you missed it, go check it out right here. We talked about our house selling process and how that's going and how we are about to be starting to look for houses to move into. There were a lot of questions that you guys had. I did a little mini Q&A on Instagram stories over the weekend. I know a lot of y'all don't follow me there. If you don't, then go follow me. Even for those of y'all that do, we just realized that there's some questions we haven't answered about our move, and so we wanted to take some time and elaborate and answer those a little bit.
There's been a lot of thinking going on behind the scenes. In between.
Oh my gosh, a lot of thinking. A common question that was asked, are we still planning to rent when we move? And the answer to that is yes.
Yes.
We do not want to buy a house again until we're debt free. That is kind of our goal. There's another question that said, will you not be debt free after you sell your house? No. I wish we were making enough money on our house to pay off our debt, but we're not, unfortunately, and that's its whole own story in itself. We are still gonna have credit card debt, car debt. We've gotten a lot of our debt paid off since January, $35,000 to be exact. So we paid off a lot of it, but we do want to get in a better place. That's kind of why we're renting, so that we can continue to pay off debt, continue to save money and do it the right way this time. 15-year mortgage and a more affordable mortgage payment.
Yeah.
And having a big down payment, which we did have a big down payment when we bought this house that we no longer have based on the price we're gonna sell our house for. So yes, we will be renting.
There's a big hill to climb in the future.
As far as paying off and then saving and
yeah, just starting over.
It's kind of scary a little bit thinking of the amount of time. Because we're like, oh, we'll rent for a year and then we'll buy a house. And now it's like, or are we renting for like ever?
Yeah.
Before we save
Which is
a lot
fine.
of money.
I know a lot of people,
No, it is.
especially this day and age, millionaires and people out there that have gone from owning to renting just because of the same situation.
For us, after going through the process of selling this house, I'm like, I never want to have to sell a house again. I guess a goal would be that once we buy, we want to make sure that we like where we're going to be, that we're in the right place, that we're in the right mental space, that we buy a house that meets all of our needs and doesn't overmeet or undermeet our needs. That's kind of part of it too, but also just like, I don't want to have to go through the process of selling again.
Might find their forever house that we don't have to worry about selling again?
Yeah, that would ideally be the goal, to not ever move again, or at least not for the foreseeable future.
Yeah.
Like at least not for a long time, and ensuring that it is a house that will sell well.
How many times have you moved in your life? We had this conversation with
the kids
on the way to church the other day. She was like talking about something. I don't know how
she said, I can't believe we're moving 2 times or something like that.
And then I started thinking about how many times I've moved in my lifetime as a kid. I think it was 3.
I guess going up till college, because you really don't count after that, because you move a bunch in that time period. But you were 3 times?
Yes.
Because you were born in Tampa, Florida.
Well, I'm not counting that either.
Oh yeah, because you don't remember it.
So maybe 4.
Technically.
If you put yourself in your parents' shoes, they had to move from Tampa, Florida up to here. I think they lived in an apartment, so maybe 5 times. The house that I remember growing up in. And then they moved just down the street, and that's when I really remember growing up in.
I forget you had those 2.
And then we moved over to this side of town and built the house.
So 4, potentially 5, maybe.
4, potentially 5.
Which really, in 18 years, that's not a ton of times. I know there's people out there who've moved a ton more. I'm on the like way low end of the spectrum. I was born and lived in a certain house until I was 2.5, and then my parents moved to the house that they still live in. So when we go visit them,
they bought their forever house.
They did, and for them that was the best decision, and it's been great for them. So for us though, at first, like because I had that experience, I was like, I don't want to have to move my kids. I don't want to move again. But there's a lot of people that move a lot of times and it turned out just fine. Yeah, it's a good thing. Speaking of, another frequently asked question was, where are you going if the house sells? Do you have plans yet? My answer was just basically that we're still planning on the Florida Panhandle area, which we've mentioned several times, and I think a lot of people have not known whether we were like actually serious or if we're just like thinking of that or if we're planning that for the far, far future. We debated that a lot, and we've like thought and prayed and been through all the motions on it and been back and forth and up and down. When we first put our house on the market last July, we were like, oh, we're gonna move to the beach. And then the further we got into the school year, we did have to continue keeping Gaines at the school she was at. It was a private kindergarten, and we had to continue paying tuition whether we were here or not. So we were like, we're gonna just look for a house in this area. Now there's a little bit more flexibility. Our heart and soul does want to move closer to the water, to the beach, ideally Florida. We prefer the Florida beaches just because we do.
Yeah, the white sand and the emerald coasts versus the darker water. And I don't know. I think that's the good thing about renting too, is like we may get down there and be like, I cannot do this heat in the summer without getting in the water every day like we are down here when we're on vacation, and we have to actually be more responsible and be like, let's move up north. I don't know.
Let's move to Alaska.
Yeah, so it's...
But that's a bonus of renting.
Testing out phase, yeah.
And I think part of our decision too was that we knew we were gonna be renting either way. There were lots of questions about the kids switching schools mid-year, and even if we weren't planning to move to Florida at this point, based on rental options listed and potential in general, we would most likely not be keeping them in the same school system, like 99%, unless something popped up. They'd still have to be changing schools even if they weren't staying, like moving out of state. Figured if there's ever a time in life to do this, they're not like securely established with friends and all kinds of stuff yet. If ever there's a year that it wouldn't just be weird to pick up and move in the middle of the year, it'd be 2020. I mean, they don't even know that school lasts longer than a couple of months at this point.
When we were at the beach, there was a couple or a family that we met down there, and they lived down there growing up, and then they moved up here in this area, which was kind of ironic, but they said that they wish they still lived closer to the water, and they can't move now because of their kids' activities outside of school, in school, their friends. They're more.
I mean, they could, but they
don't want to mentally and emotionally scar them, I guess, at the age that they were at. They were teenagers.
It'd be more of like an uprooting versus our kids.
You establish these well-rounded friendships versus ours are just, just now starting to...
They make new friends all the time, so. And they do love their schools and love where they are, and that's definitely a bonus. We don't believe that at this point it's a reason to not follow our dream and follow where we feel that we're being called to be. We would honestly be happy with either Alabama coast or Florida coast. We also realize that based on prices of living and what's available, we might end up being closer on the Alabama coast for the first year or two as we're renting, to kind of figure out where we want to be, just based on what's available and what we can find. That would be okay with us, and then that would help us to get an idea of where we want to be. But we would love to be able to be where we finally ultimately want to be and kind of feel that area out. So there was also a question about whether we're concerned about all the hurricanes living so close to the ocean.
Delta.
Hurricanes are a big deal, but my response was that there are threats of natural disasters in a lot of places. Where we live right now, you can have a crazy destructive tornado pop up like that frequently during the summer. Hurricanes are a huge deal too. Luckily, you do have more time to prepare because you know it's coming, but they can also be devastating and like totally wipe out whole communities. There's also wildfires in places, there's earthquakes, there's gonna be natural disasters. You can definitely move to a place where there may not be natural disasters, but we feel like wherever we end up, we're gonna do our best to be prepared for what's there.
I can't say I haven't thought about that like in the past, where I'm like, I'm glad we're right up above the line of the outer ring of the hurrane, in the past
where we are now,
where we just get rain afterward, versus like being down there in direct impact.
Having to evacuate, without power and all that.
Again, another good reason why we're renting.
Yeah. Well, and there's different preparedness things to do. We don't know all the hurricane preparedness things right now, but we'll look into them, get a hurricane preparedness kit, just like anybody who moves here is like, wait, I need to have like a helmet ready for tornado season? What?
Yeah, we have a tornado emergency kit downstairs. Y'all have earthquake emergency kits over there.
Yeah, like our kids have tornado drills at school, and other people have.
She said Florida? Panhandle? What? Let's go.
I want to go to Alaska. I like cold weather. Speaking of the pets, that was another question was, are you concerned about finding a place to rent with your 2 cats and your 2 dogs? And honestly, yeah, a little bit.
It's hard to move into a place with a zoo.
Yeah.
Like, or find people willing to allow a zoo.
Yeah. And I guess at this point in this whole process, I'm to the point of like, I am trusting that the Lord's gonna take us wherever we need to be. It will all work out the way it's supposed to. We've definitely had to consider that in our search, whether there's places that say no pets. There have been places that pop up that are perfect, price range, size, all the things, and no pets allowed. No considerations or whatever. I did have somebody messaged me too saying that they personally own a rental property and that they've worked one-on-one with their renters based on a few different concerns that they have and how it's beneficial to discuss a rental with somebody that like is rented out by the property owner and not a management company for a long-term rental. That's been something I've found just in contacting places that we've been interested in. They get back to me like that. They are personable. They give me information about the area. So ideally, we'll find a place like that.
And even though it says no pets, maybe, like you said, reaching out personally and saying, look, we're pretty good with our pets and we'll cover any damage if there is any that needs to happen. So you never know.
And some people, they say no pets and then you're like, oh, well, we just have these little dogs and little cats. And they're like, oh, we just didn't want like a big, huge, massive dog that's gonna chew up all our woodwork. And so we're like, no, they don't do that. One other question was, if you could move back into your old house, would you? What's your answer to that?
At the beginning of this whole journey, I would have done anything to get back over there.
That's true.
But now, no. It's actually bigger than some of the rentals we've been looking at, if that gives you any indication of how much we are downsizing.
It's interesting because I've actually looked at the listing for our old house several times, and obviously it says off market, but I've looked at it to see like, is it available? What if we did rebuy that house? It doesn't meet our needs in a few different ways right now. Obviously it's not the area we want to be in general.
Right.
I mean, I love the area, but we want to move to the coast. It just doesn't meet our needs. So we wouldn't, as much as we love that house, and I know those of y'all that remembered it, it just has a lot of memories. So the other question was, what was the kid's reaction when you told them? If you missed that, it was in last week's video.
Go check it out. I did cut out a lot of that. That was a real quick synopsis of it, but it was still cute.
They were very excited, most excited to not have showings. We've enjoyed not having showings the past 2 weekends.
Yes.
It's been like the first 2 weekends in the past 2 months that we haven't had to be on alert for somebody to come see our house at any minute. So there's still a lot of anxiety and a lot of uncertainty. Things that
final
can
steps
happen.
that could still fall through. We're still kind of in the waiting game process. I'm ready to just start like moving everything over into one corner in that front room.
I know, me too. Like, can we?
Yeah.
I really want to. If we had been at this exact place a year or even 2 years ago when we had decided to sell our house, we would have probably packed half the house, because at this point, most people are like, yeah, we're moving. Our closing date is this. And we're like, yeah, we're moving. Our closing date is supposed to be this, but Lord only knows at this point.
I know, like I'm
looking
nervous.
at stuff going like, we just need to put all the stuff up.
We should, yeah.
Put it up.
Yeah.
Just put it up.
That does it for today's video. Hope you enjoyed it. If y'all have any other questions, like we said in the beginning, send us some messages on Instagram or Facebook. You should do another one of those Q&As.
Yeah, I'll do another one. It was kind of fun doing it over the weekend. Like, I posted the box on Friday, and then I was able to throughout the weekend answer questions. So I may do that this weekend. We can answer some in video form too, but do try to leave comments like on a recent picture, because DMs on Instagram only lets you keep so many at a time from people that you don't follow. They get lost. So comment, and we'll try to.
And if it's an important, you gotta comment on the picture and say, hey, sent you a DM, because I don't ever, like there's so many messages that I miss. I'm like, dang, this was 2 weeks ago. Be sure to give this video a thumbs up. Subscribe if you're new. Subscribe if you haven't yet, because we've got a hell of a journey coming up soon.
Get ready for it, because I have no clue where it's going.
Going down south.
Yes, but hopefully not in a bad way.
No, literally.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. Thanks for watching. See you on TMS. Catch you on the next time.
Bye.
These are my nose hair trimmers.